water quality is good, and hence the animal health is also improved and helped because of all these things. My name is Schellnegger. The name of the property we're on here is Opal Downs. We're about 15 kilometres south of Lightning Ridge. We're located on the Castlereagh Highway in northern New South Wales. We've got sheep and wheat. We've been trying to improve the property ever since we've been here, trying to get more ground cover established, control weeds that we've got. Hudson pear has been a particular problem, and of course we've got feral animal issues with goats and pigs that are constantly need to be monitored. We also cull kangaroos, and we've got a shooting program in place. Originally when I came here, there was bore drains through the property, and they were fed from Schellnegger bore, which is just east of Lightning Ridge, also supplied the bore bars. I think Schellnegger bore was supplying somewhere in the vicinity, and I wouldn't swear to the exact figure, but probably about 100 kilometres of bore drain, which was a little river system that ran through all the country. And since it's been switched off and we've got back to these troughs, now we've got control over the total grazing pressure. And total grazing pressure basically is not just about the stock that we've got here, it also includes all our native animals, kangaroos, the pest animals of course such as pigs and goats. The numbers are probably there and competing with the stock. They were high maintenance, the bore drains, especially in the summertime. There always had to go around, there was delving. Sometimes there'd be animals that get stuck in them. If it rained too much, the sides would wash out. And it was a constant thing with the bore drains going around, making sure the water kept flowing. But bore drains were great because you could see all this water everywhere. It was fantastic. Well, I thought it was. And then we get these troughs, and I wasn't real keen on the whole idea of the troughs. Oh, this is going to be no good. Because human nature dictates, I think, that we like things the way they are. But since we've got the trough system in place and all the piping and the tanks and that, there has been maintenance. There's maintenance to do to clean the troughs out occasionally. The float valves stick sometimes, but overall, it's nowhere near as much work as the bore drains were. It's much easier to control your stock movement. Control total grazing pressure is not possible with a bore drain system. We've also used about 30% of the water that we did before, so there's savings there as far as the environment goes as well. Stock health has markedly improved. It was my initial thought that the stock had to walk further to water, that they could not access it randomly. In the past, they didn't have to come to troughs. Now that we can get the animal populations a bit more under control, there's less competition for the stock. They come to these fixed watering points. They're dry around there. We've got a concrete pad for the animals to water on, so they're not getting bogged, they're not using energy trying to get themselves in and out of muddy water holes, especially when it starts to get dry. Periods of dry, these troughs are very good, and because they've got access to clean water as well. The water quality is good, and hence the animal health is also improved and helped because of all these things. Ground cover is important, not just for the property Opal Downs that we're on, but ground cover is important right down through the river systems and everything. We've got warrenbools on this property. The warrenbool is, well, probably what you'd describe as a creek. It flows erratically. I mean, in high rainfall times it flows, and in times like a flood that we've had this year, there's a substantial body of water flows through the warrenbool. Now those warrenbools, of course, they feed into the Barwon River, eventually feeds into the Murray-Darling. And there's all sorts of things about water quality, not just in New South Wales, but the other states as well that the rivers go through. And towns all along the rivers use that water. And we're at the top of the catchment here. By increased ground cover, we've got less erosion, soil erosion. So when the water runs down the warrenbools, hence into the river systems and that, we've got a better quality water that goes in there. We've got less soil loss here. That's an advantage for our property here. But it's also a community benefit for everybody all down through the river system and through the other states as well that are in that river, because they've got better water quality all through the system. And this is just one small part of it, but it does make a difference, us having that extra ground cover here. Also, the extra ground cover, our rainfall is more effective, because instead of it shedding straight off the top of the soil and carrying with it all the soil and the nutrients down the warrenbool into the river systems, the ground cover keeps the water here, allows it to soak in, it absorbs it into the roots and the systems, and really it makes the rain that we get more effective and longer lasting. So the more ground cover we get, it's almost like having more rain. We really can't do so much for feral animal control in the warrenbool because we can't switch the water off there, and it being practical to fence it in such a manner as to restrict feral animal access. As far as feral animal control goes, we can switch these troughs off. That's helping a lot with our total grazing pressure, and eventually, like I mentioned, earlier, we will get our dams, ground tanks fenced. We'll ring lock fence them, put some extra traps in around them, and that will be probably about the extent of the control that we can do, I'd say.